Hi, this is John Waterhouse. Welcome to our Summer Prosperity Series review. I'm really glad that you're here to check out and see what's happening with us this class as we go through some different elements of how to live a prosperous life. And one thing that we start our classes with is to talk about those that have had some kind of unexpected or increased income. If you've been in the class, you know all about that, and you've probably registered for being in the increased income program. And if so, that's wonderful. Please let us know if you have anything happen in your life that is increased income so we can share it with the class. And if you haven't been in the class and don't know about it, all you have to do is fill out the registration form on the home page of our website, cslasheville.org. And that will come to me, and I will send you a response, a confirmation that I've received that. And then Barbara and I every day will do our treatment work, holding yours and all the other registration forms of everyone that is in the class. And we'll treat knowing that you have fantastic wealth in your life, that you have optimal wealth and health and happiness, which is true prosperity. As far as what we've known this week, I only got one story to share from out in the world. It's from someone who shared that they had a balance with a chiropractor's office that no longer was open. And she called and asked for a refund. She was told no. She got into this class and the refund check showed up in her mail. So we're grateful to know about that one. The other story that I have for you really is something we've never had before. We have a story for our center. And it's much like many of the stories we hear from individuals, but this one really is about our center. So it begins with a conversation with my wife, Dr. Barbara, and our media director, Devon Embler, about a particular member of the center who has been a generous supporter of the center, but in his giving records, in the records here at the center, it shows that he had given nothing. So the conversation went something like this. I don't understand why we don't have those records in our files. Barbara said, didn't we have another PayPal account that we changed from last year? Devon replied, you know, I think we did have an account. I'll have to check it out. And they kind of left it like that. And I'm standing there going, we had more than one account? And they both assured me that we had, and that it kind of had fallen to the wayside with Barbara and her health issues that we've been working on, and no one remembered it. Well, later in the day, Devon called and said that she had found the account, and that sure enough, there was money in it, over $6,000 from 4 different people who had been contributing to the center regularly since the end of last year. And so that was our increased income. Barbara was quite happy and excited that this had happened, and it fit perfectly into the idea that there is money out there trying to find us. And it's true for all of us, especially when we're doing this increased income program and reciting that affirmation every day. So do your affirmations, enjoy the class, and I'll check in with you at the end of class. Thank you.
Because it's time! It's time! I don't even think I need to ask you, are you ready?
Yes!
You're ready!
Yes!
You're ready to create things out of thin air!
Yes!
You're ready to have what you want to have!
Yes!
You are ready to make the impossible possible every day!
Yes!
Okay, let's do our treatment for prosperity together aloud. Get up! Get up! You will be rich and successful and happy on your butts. Together aloud.
I dare to know that God is the source of all supply, and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health,
is it that some people have large amounts of money and other people don't? Obviously, there's some ingredient. And yes, we're going to go through the secrets of success over these weeks that we're together. But when I ask myself that question, some interesting stuff comes up. And it's actually on page 17. If you're all reading this book, then obviously you remember this very interesting little paragraph at the top of chapter 3, where he says an Italian laborer in Los Angeles spent 20 years digging sewers. During the time he carried suspended around his neck a bag containing a good luck stone, a little red thing that he had picked up. One day, a glint of the color caught the eye of an onlooker. The bag was opened, and the little red thing proved to be a pigeon ruby. It was worth $20,000. And when he wrote this in 1926, $20,000 was a lot of money. So for 20 years, this man dug in the dirt. He lived in squalor and fed on the fare of poverty and ignorance of his hidden fortune. That's pretty dramatic, but it makes the point that ruby that man carried around his neck had great value. He didn't know it. We all have a ruby hanging around our necks. We have stuff of great value. And some of us in this room are doing a really good job of identifying their value in the world. But we can all get it deeper and better. We can all understand that this isn't just a story about a guy in LA, that it's really about all of us. That we have this hidden treasure in who we are. Somewhere in the book, in the early part of the book, he talks about the fact that that he is writing about is not about how to increase your skills. You'll do that naturally. It's about unearthing from within you this sense of who you are and bringing it out with these things he calls secrets and bringing that vitally into your life. Those of you that were here last week got to meet Brian Byro. Many of you probably have seen him in the room and know that he's married to our beloved Carol here. I prefer Brian or Carol? This man really is one of the best in the world at what he does. The best in the world. And if you saw him, you put that energy into our group on Monday night. It's the same energy he puts into a production for 5,000 people. Yeah. There's no difference. He brings it all. Now he wasn't with us as long as he's with some of those other groups. He honed it down so that he could give it to us. But did you get his energy? Yeah. Did you get his enthusiasm? Did you get his clarity? How he articulates his stories so clearly? How you know exactly what he's talking about? How he animates them? Yeah. This is his world. Now he said he's done board breakings up toward 1,800 times in his life. He ought to be getting good at it. But there's plenty of people that do things repetitively and don't really grow into it. I've known Brian for a few years. Frankly, he's getting better. He's getting better. Who thinks Brian Byro needs to get better? But yet he is. If you look at the great golfers in the world, and I'm no great fan of golf, but I watch it a bit to see what's going on. And what I see is people that are champions, that are masters, that have won great tournaments. And the first thing they do in the morning is they go out and they hit golf balls. Haven't they hit enough golf balls? They're masters. Yet there they are out there doing that work. What is it causes people to do that? What is it that causes a quarterback, after practice, 3 hours, everybody's exhausted, to go grab his 2 best receivers and go back on the field and make them run routes and throw the ball to them? What makes that, and that one is the one that becomes the champion. What is it in people that do that? And what I believe is that it's about commitment. Now, commitment sounds like a rigid word. Like, oh, I'm committed. But the truth is that when you're committed to yourself, to bringing forth the value that's within you out into the world. When you have that commitment, you got to act on it. You got to do more than the other guy does. You got to know who you are in a more deep, engaged way. And there's an old quote that I've been using for years because I really love it. It's about commitment. It's about the idea, and it comes from a man named, he's a British writer and adventurer, William Hutchison Murray. You've all, not all of you, but most of you have heard this, and I'm going to read it for you. And you guys can read along if you'd like, because I've got it, I'm going to have it up here on the screen. But I really want to sit with this for a minute about what he's talking about. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Always, always in effectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. Providence moves too. Something happens when one commits oneself. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidences and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. He's saying that commitment opens doors that you couldn't have imagined. When I stand committed to an outcome, things will come. They don't always come easy. They don't always come immediately, but they come because one is committed. And who are you committed to? To oneself. That's the only place to be committed. There's one more piece.
What's his name again?
William Hutchison Murray. In this last part, he quotes Goethe. Goethe was a German writer and philosopher. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. That is the most beautiful thing I know about commitment. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant to understand that what I choose to do inside of me creates activity outside of me. Because there's really only one thing going on. You know, you get into the science of modern philosophy, this is logical. If I choose to have something occur in my life, and I am committed to it, then it will come. The call will come, the thing in the mail will come, the friend will suggest, something will happen. Something will happen that will allow that thing that I am committed to move forward. I don't have to do it myself, thank God. That there are people that want to help me. There are people that want to see me successful. There are people that will invest in me. That's the beauty of life. If we're committed, if we're committed. So I think that element of commitment is so valuable and so important that it plays a major role in anyone being successful. Who in the room has a story that they can share where they have? Deb has a story. I'll let Barbara come get this. So think about it while Deb's going to give her story. If there's anyone else in the room that has that kind of a story of, you know, I didn't know how it was going to work out, and then boom, there it was. So, okay, we'll go with Deb and then Michelle.
Yeah, Mary and I have lived in the same house for 15 years, and when we moved here, it's a duplex, and we said, well, this is going to be our first rental property, and we're gonna find where we really want to live, and we're going to just live here for a little while. Well, then, you know, we could never find another house we really liked and could agree on, and then the market kind of went down, and so we held on to it, and in the meantime, we bought some more duplexes, and we've had them for a long time as well. So we've just sort of been like land barons out in Las Vegas. Cash poor and not really cash poor, but I'm just saying. You know how people will say property rich and, you know, whatever. So here we are sitting on these duplexes, and we found something we wanted to buy, and we would go to the bank, and oh yeah, we can do all this for you, and you go through all the hoops, and you give me a tax return, you do all this. Then at the end they go, no, we can't help you. You have too many loans out. Or there's always an excuse. So we started to get really discouraged with the banks. And you know, there've been more than one time that we found just the right house, and everything's about to work out, and then something doesn't work out. So we got really discouraged, and then this last little presidential campaign, and when I saw the Trump signs in my neighborhood, I said, I don't want to live here anymore. I'm tired of living around neighbors. I can't really have a conversation or a sense of community, and I only talk about dogs and chickens and stuff. You know? So I really got this desire. I really wanted to live in a green home because it's what we do. Mary added me to the business, so now I'm fully in. I'm all in, committed. Like I was all in, well, not really. I was not all in. Now that she's added me to the corporation, I'm in. So, you know, I'm suiting up and showing up every day. I moved my office to the basement and everything. I used to work in the kitchen. I didn't want to go down there. Anyway, when Mary and I found the right place, the right neighborhood, and we saw the model home down at Olivet at the river, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'd love to live here, like it was a dream. And then they told us the price. And I was like, oh my God. So, you know, I expanded my mind around that. And then that was actually a low thing. And so it was actually several $100 more, $100,000 more than that. And I'm like, oh, wow, well. So I actually had to expand my prosperity mindset consciousness on that. And I had to become willing to sell the rental property, which has been our source of security. And because I decided I didn't want to just spend the rest of my life sitting up on top of a hill and having money coming in but not being happy. So I wanted walkability, I wanted progressive neighbors, I wanted beauty around me, I wanted mountain views, I wanted river, I wanted all of this. So, long story short. Barbara's coming in on the left. So we actually talked to a builder. He showed us the plans, and it became more real. Then we figured out how we can actually sell our rental property and then not have to pay capital gains by renting it. We're buying a model home, and then we're going to rent it back to the builder for 2 years, which will satisfy the IRS commitment so we don't pay any capital gains. Then we move in immediately and take over our house, and it's got geothermal, solar panels, it's net zero, it's in a very affluent, nice neighborhood with walking trails and all the beauty around us that we want. Progressive neighbors, we've already met the people, it's us, totally. Mary is getting her farm she's always wanted, and we don't have to work it. We just get to
Congratulations. Oh, the best part.
The part I didn't share with you is we still couldn't get a loan from the bank. But this woman we barely know, who wants us to be her neighbor, said, I'll loan you $300,000.
Good for you. Congratulations. That's excellent. Yeah. Michelle, she's coming to you. Stand up. Thank you.
So many of you know I love teaching the 4 agreements, and I love sharing it, and it's in my heart. And I do it here all the time, and now I've been doing some platform talks in other places as well. And one day I said, you know, Michelle, you really love this. Why don't we do more of it? So that day I said, I want a bigger footprint in the world teaching the 4 agreements. I already have a website, I have clients, people come. I wanted it to be bigger because I felt like the world needed that right now. And that next day, I got a phone call from a yoga studio in Hendersonville where one of the people who had been in my class was attending, and the owner said, will you come here and teach the 4 agreements? I did nothing. That same day, I was chosen to be the keynote speaker at the practitioner conference here in Asheville.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited about creating what it is that I really want to do. And I want to say that for me, there was a lot of surrender of other ideas and other things I thought I wanted, but there's nothing in the world that floats my boat the way it makes us.
Yay, Michelle. Anyone else? We've got time for one more. Jen?
Yeah, I have a vision that I'm working on now that it really means a lot to me. It's all about sharing my purpose for being on this earth. And every time I start to go to that place of, oh, you can't do this, or, oh, geez, this is too big, I remember that it was just a year ago that I had this vision that because I was able to start using hiking poles to walk instead of a walker, I thought, well, what else do I want to do? Because I can do this. And so I thought, I want to be able to ride a two-wheel bike again. And nobody thought it was possible, including all my doctors. They said, please don't do this. It's impossible. But anyway, I had this quest and I had this purpose, and that's all I focused on. And I developed a plan of how I was going to work out my body every day to do the progressive steps so that I could ride this. And I had to start on a small child's bike and work up. But I devoted myself to that for 3 to 4 hours every day. And 11 and a half months later, I rode a two-wheel bike, and I'm able to do that now. So I'm just reminding myself, if I can do that, and I did this other stuff, of course I can do what I really want to do. So, you know, it's just a reminder to myself, you know, like, yeah. So, thank you.
That's good.
This is the place where we do the impossible every day.
That's right. Is there anybody in this room that thinks they are unable to achieve great things in your life? Good. All right, you got to act like it now. So here's what I want to give you as we round this up tonight. I've got some thoughts, things that you may want to know if you want to succeed. So if you're writing, get ready to write. And here we go. When you're able to control the way you feel while experiencing a specific condition, then you have the power to influence change within that condition. Got it? Does that make sense? That means that if something happens and you don't freak out and you go, I can still do this, this still works, this doesn't change my intention, this is what I'm going to do. If you hold that attitude, you'll get through it. If you go, oh God, I don't know what to do, then you won't. It's really that simple. And everything, what Deb was talking about, and Michelle, and Jen, are things where they came up against an obstacle. And they said what their intention was. And their intention is that they achieve that. And when you have that intention clear, and it's not just you, as I read from that quote, all forms of support come to you. Like Michelle said, the phone rang. That's how it works. We don't have to know how. We just have to know that we're committed to the outcome. It's the outcome that's important. And we have to be persevering toward that. We have to recognize that tension and move toward it. Do something. Don't sit back and wait for it to happen. It's lovely when they call you, but sometimes you have to call them. And whatever way it works, you let it work. Betty?
I just have a favor to ask.
Oh, sure. I'll move it back. Oh, you can't see it, can you?
Can you say it again,
Sure.
please? Thank you.
When you're able to control the way you feel while experiencing a specific condition, then you have the power to influence change within that condition. You know, you can make the broad statement that I can change anything, I can do anything. But when it gets down to it and you hit a wall, that's when it matters. That's when you've got something there, is that if I know I can move through this, that this is not an obstacle that owns me, I'm bigger than it, then you get through it. Otherwise, you become complacent, you start thinking you can't do it, and things start unwinding. This will get you through it. And the time to remember it is when you go, oh crap. That's the time to remember. Oh yeah, I can do this. I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before, but I know I can do it. And then figure it out. And it's not all in your head. People will call, things will happen, you'll read something. Something will give you the indication, and you'll go, oh, I could try that. And suddenly things work out. Sometimes quickly, sometimes not so quickly, but it doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter. Having happy thoughts and feelings makes it easier to direct your thoughts and actions effectively. Barbara and I used to have discussions about happiness and clarity. She would say happiness is the most important. And I would say, no, clarity is the most important. I'm starting to think that I can't be clear if I'm not happy. Time is irrelevant, as long as you get there. So happy thoughts, no matter what's going on, happy thoughts. I feel good about this, I can do this, I'm going to make this happen. It's all reaffirming that which we are. It's identifying the treasure within. The treasure doesn't have dimensions or a weight. The treasure within you is who you are. It's timeless, it's ageless. It has no top value. It can't be assessed. When you take action from a perspective of fear or lack, the action will always be counterproductive. Always be counterproductive. How could it not? If I'm afraid it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Now, there are those occasions where the fear comes up and it still works out, but don't count on that. What the outcome is counting on is you knowing who you are and acting according to that knowing. And never, ever, ever including outside environmental reasons for why it won't work out. You're lying to yourself if you think something outside of you will make this work or not work. It's all you. And that's a blessing. Sounds like a burden, but it's a blessing. Because you're in the driver's seat. It's up to you. And if it's not forming the way you thought it would, then assess it. And assess yourself. What am I missing? What don't I see? How can I get this done? What's there? What's my lesson? However you want to work it, I don't care how you say it. But know that that's not a stopping point. It's simply a point to allow you to get it. I've always said that problems are not against us, they're for us. Because they show us how strong we are, how big we are, how smart we are, how capable we are. Because we overcome them. Problems are gifts. Now, nobody wants too many of them. But they're going to come. Something's going to come that you don't know how to work out in that moment. And you're going to have to dig deep and find it in you. Not necessarily the answer, but at least the next step. It's there. It always is, without exception. You cannot focus on what's working and what's not working at the same time. You say you want success, but you're focused on the problem. And why aren't you moving forward? Because you're focused on the problem. It doesn't work. It won't work. You've got to focus on the thing that you desire. And you've got to let the problem go. It's not that you don't know it's a problem. Of course you know it's a problem. You just don't give it any energy. You don't stay up at night worried about it. You don't rack your brain. You know it's resolved. You accept nothing less than that. And then you let it all fall into place. You're a player in that. You're not outside observer. You're a player in it. In every step, every breath, every beat of your heart. You're a player. But you gotta play. And you gotta know who you are. And the only way to know it is to not focus on what's not working. Focus on what is working and expand that. You cannot commit to what you want while focusing on what you don't want. It's kind of the same argument. There's that thing in neuro-linguistic programming that says that some people move toward what they want, other people try to get away from what they don't want. God bless you if you're trying to get away from something. Because how do you pay attention to what you want if you're focused on the thing you're trying to get away from? So what do you want? I want this thing to go away. Yeah, but if it wasn't there, what would you have? I would have a life without that thing. No, you're focusing on the problem. Stop it. Focus on what you want. That will make it work differently. Amazingly so. Oh, here we go. Begin your day, even before you get out of bed, by looking at a handful of desired outcomes for your life. Now, the out of bed isn't an absolute, but out of the house is definitely not going to work. If you leave the house without doing this, it's not going to happen. Bed is a safe place to have these thoughts before your feet touch the ground. But before you begin your day, think about the desired outcomes you want that day. Some days it's just, I want a happy day. And that's okay. But some days there's something you're going to do that day. You know you're going to do it. You know it's going to be before you. You might as well see it, work it out. It doesn't take but a few minutes. Spend a few minutes thinking about what you want to happen today. Give it form. You know, we're called creative beings, and most people think our creative beingness is that we have the thing or the outcome in our lives. You're being creative at the moment you have the thought of the outcome. You're creating the thought of the outcome, which has to be the precursor to the outcome. Don't try to do that once you get to the meeting. You got to do it when you get up in the morning. What's your priorities today? What's going to happen today that's really going to keep you in that line of moving closer to that thing that you're saying you want in your life? You're going to spend some time first thing in the morning when you're fresh. How many of you have had the experience of almost waking up and having a solution to something in your mind? You've had that happen. We always begin the day with that ability because we're not burdened or distracted by things. The day is new. We haven't done anything yet. Why not fill that early place in your day with what you want to happen? If you do, there's a much higher probability that that will happen the way you're imagining. Now, it may happen different. It may get postponed. Those happen. Where you do all this work and say, this meeting is going to, and it gets postponed. That's okay. That means you're just doing that much more good work for this meeting. It's okay. Whatever's happening, see the outcome you desire. Okay? Before you go to sleep, spend 2 freaking minutes, recalling some of the most pleasant experiences of your day. Chances are, those things will line up perfectly with the things you did in the morning. And what a way to go into your sleep, of feeling the success of the day. Something wonderful happened. I had this great conversation. I got this thing in the mail. I had a meeting and it just went better than I expected. Just having those thoughts and then closing your eyes and going to sleep really makes a difference. Chapters 6 and 7 in the book are about suggestion. These are how we suggest into our lives the outcomes we desire. It is not beyond us to do this. Self-hypnosis is a real thing, and it's that simple. You don't have to look at it. All you have to do is know the truth. That wonderful things are happening in this day before me, and that wonderful things happened in the day that I'm sitting down. What a gracious way to live a life. Success is all over that. Flood your thinking with things that make you feel happy. Given the choice at any moment, pick the happy thought. And we've all been there where we're going, oh yeah. And Barbara's got this great way that she had me doing it, had us both doing it. She would say, how much money is that costing you? I'm so happy because I want that life. And I'm not willing in most cases to give up that life I want because somebody pissed me off. No way. My life's better than that. And when I let that happen, and it influences how my day goes, I gave all my power away to someone that really doesn't want it. Just because they push my button. They're just being who they are. So the better thing to do is to bless them and release them and have a happy thought. And finally, nothing is more important than being happy. I surrender to that. Make yourself be happy, no matter what. You like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
So what we're going to do is set your pens down.
No.
You can write this after class. I've got it up here.
There's a video.
That's true. So what I want you to do is set your pens down, set everything down, and close your eyes. And Barbara's going to turn the lights off and go back to the room. And we're going to do a little process just to end the evening. Okay? So just relax into this moment. Know we've had a wonderful time here tonight. And I ask you to set everything about this down so that you can know that your life is working. And the first thing I want to ask you to do is to let something go. The way that I was talking about my video recording dilemma, or Jen was talking about her wanting to ride a bike and not getting support from her doctor's dilemma, or whatever it is. There's something you've recently found that slowed you down, that maybe even stopped you for a time. Maybe it's still going on. There's someplace somewhere where you feel like you haven't been effective, where you haven't gotten to the place and there's a level of frustration. I want you to notice how that feels in you when you remember that event. Maybe get a visual image. If you're visual, get a visual image of being in that state. Know where it was, what was going on. Maybe it happened today, who knows? Something frustrated you. So in this moment, I want you to take those images and those feelings, I want you to put them in a sphere. And I want you to put that sphere, that ball, that thing that's got that darkness, that troubling thing in it. And I want you to put it inside the pocket of a catapult. You know what a catapult is? It's a large slingshot. I want you to have it in there, and I want you to take that catapult, and I want you to pull it back, stretch it way back, take some steps back. And when you're ready, and there's plenty of tension on that thing, I want you to let it go. Just let it go. And watch it fly off and out of sight. Now be aware of how you're feeling at this moment. That thing's gone. You can't see it anymore. Take note of how you're feeling. And now set that down. Keeping your eyes closed, I want you to think of a time where you were exceedingly successful, where you were celebrating something wonderful that happened in your life. I want you to again get a clear image of this. And tell yourself how you feel. How joyous that is, how wonderful that is, how powerful that is, how affirming to who you are that is. Really get into it. Yeah. All right, and I want you to put that again into a sphere, surrounded in a ball. And it goes into the catapult, but now it's going the other way so that someone is actually stretching that catapult back further and further away from you. But it's aimed right at you. And then all of a sudden the catapult releases, BAM! Feel it inside you. That's the treasure. That's the power. Right there. And when you're ready, open your eyes.
Cool.
Did you feel that? That's real. That's who you are. That moment of success that you remembered is who you are every day of your life. Your job to remember it and act on it. You did real good today. Thank you very much.
Hi again. I'm knowing that you've enjoyed this class and it's been a good review of things that you may have already heard, but it's always good to hear them again. I'm grateful that you found this valuable and that you're taking advantage of it from our website, from our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for being a part of the class and doing this good work. And as we do at the end of every class, we offer that the increased income program affirmation that we say together aloud. And so if you would, I'm going to close my eyes, and if you want to, please join me in this. I, John, know that God is the source of all supply and that money is God in action. I know that my good is here now. I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. This word, which I speak in faith knowing, now activates universal law, and I accept the results. I bless all that I have now, and I bless the increase. I bless all the others in the increased income program of our class, and I know that we now prosper together in every way. I give thanks for this good, and so it is. And with that, have a fantastic day.